My name is Sean Hall. I'm the founder of the Life and Breath Foundation. The Life and Breath Foundation was established in 1998 in memory of my mother, Ida Hull. And we've been raising awareness and looking for a cure for the last 27 years. And we're happy to introduce the speaker series, which was something that came out of COVID in 2000. And it's our way to be able to share and to provide those individuals that have sarcoidosis or those caregivers who are the ones that support our patients and so important to the health of our patients, going forward. So the speaker series has really allowed us to find subject matter experts across the world to be able to help us with disseminating this information, sharing the information, and really helping those affected with sarcoidosis understand that they're not by themselves. Today, we're joined by Julia, who is a UK-based physiotherapist, Pilates instructor, and sarcoidosis caregiver. With decades of experience in movement therapy, she founded the Physio Platelets to help clients reduce pain and move with confidence. As a caregiver to a loved one with sarcoidosis, Julia leads the UK sarcoidosis support session, providing community, empathy, and guidance for others affected by the condition. Her work blends clinical expertise with deep personal understanding of the chronic illness and caregiving. Julia, welcome. We're happy to have you here. Thank you very much for taking the time to join us.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you. Thank you so much. I start off in a very British way with an apology because that brief sounded so good. And I'm sorry I'm match up to that. Also, I'm originally from Liverpool, home of the Beatles, so I do tend to talk quite quickly. So this is me slowing right down. And when I do the session with you in a bit, my voice will get slower. But when I start talking about stuff that I'm interested in or that I'm passionate about, I do tend to talk quite quickly. So you might hear the slight Scouse twang, although I haven't lived in Liverpool for about 30 years now. So what I was going to do is I was going to tell you a little bit about me and my partner and the journey we're on together. And then take you through a guided session that I've been doing on a monthly basis with Sarcoidosis UK. And then I think there's a couple of questions, I think maybe at the end. How does that sound?
That would be great.
Yeah, does that sound okay?
Yes.
Right, okay, I'll get stuck in. So my story is I've been a physio now for almost 40 years and my special interest is Pilates. I started doing that over 28 years ago. I ran my own studio for 25 years and my partner and I have been together for nearly 14 years. And he was diagnosed, his name's Clayton, he was diagnosed with sarcoidosis 2 years ago with a long journey to get there, as I'm sure everybody understands and feels that themselves. A very long journey of just, the A&E visits, the doctor's visits, trying to find out what was going on, and me having the physio background, trying to work out why he was feeling so unwell, and never in a million years would we have realised that actually he was in heart failure when we eventually got a clinic appointment with a cardiologist, and they didn't know why, and it was because of sarcoidosis. So he has cardiac sarcoidosis, pulmonary sarcoidosis. He has a defib pacemaker, which was fitted. It's almost 2 years now since that was fitted, and we're still on that journey. I can't say I have any of the most amazing answers, but for me as a physio whose main interest is quite complicated rehabilitation, I work from everybody across all levels, from elite athletes to your everyday knee pain that can't work out why, and I'm the one who works out what's going on. I'm not the hands-on one, I'm the exercise one. And when trying to find out information about sarcoidosis and exercise, and it was very much sort of and I'm sure a lot of people will empathise with this. The doctor's saying, we fixed your heart, you've got a pacemaker in, you're on prescribed drugs now. And Clayton's saying, I still feel really awful. I'm really struggling to get through a lot of my days. And the consultant's saying, oh, well, that's a bit disappointing. You know, that's the kind of attitude we've had quite a bit. And then looking for answers in movement and being told he's deconditioned, that you need to build up strength slowly, that you need to do a little bit every day. And then in your face, that doesn't happen because the fatigue's so overwhelming that he has to just rest and do, well, seemingly do nothing, but resting is an activity I've found now. And even days on the kind of, well, just, you know, pace yourself, sometimes that doesn't work. So I feel like my knowledge of kind of rehabilitation and kind of working with chronic illnesses and trying to get people to feel physically well again has been really challenged with the journey that we're on together. And in the UK, we have a couple of, as I'm sure you do in the US, of sarcoidosis support groups. Sarcoidosis UK run a lot of their groups online, as we do now. And we found a lot of information from them. They've been so helpful. And I asked them if I could do just a monthly session with people on the online support group and just see if they found it helpful. And when I talked to people about what they wanted or what they felt felt an overwhelming disconnect with a body that's changed massively. So for me, with my partner Clayton, we used to climb mountains together. In fact, our first date was climbing Snowdon, which is a mountain in Wales here. And then we do a mountain every year with mountain climbing. He's ex-army, very, very active. And now he can sometimes barely walk to the lamppost at the end of a few hundred yards away from where we live. So it's that disconnect with the body that's changed, and then how to keep, people ask me how they keep their joints healthy when they feel they can't do kind of more traditional exercise. Do they do breathing as an exercise? And I'm not a respiratory physio. I'm also not an expert in sarcoidosis and exercise and chronic illness, but I can give insights into body awareness, postural awareness, which is has a quite deep impact on your body, breath, and the building blocks of movement and the simplicity that can bring in just your well-being and connecting your body and mind. And it can be something as simple as sitting unsupported for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and thinking about how you're sitting, maybe thinking about how you're breathing, finding some joy in your body again, whether it's, I don't know, focusing on a small movement. People find like the finger exercises, or I do quite a bit of coordination stuff, these kind of things where they're kind of challenging your mind and your body at the same time, but for short periods. And just getting that reconnect with your body, really. So if it's okay, what I'd really like to do is just to kind of, for you to feel, I can talk about that for ages, and if you let me, I probably would, but I'd like to take you through a short session. I originally did this session, it's called Pause, Focus and Connect, for a podiatrist conference in the UK, where they wanted something that would address the candidates' well-being before they went on their day of lectures. And so I did this session first thing in the morning, and I've done it at a couple of conferences for medical personnel, where it just helps people just switch off from the day, focus on what they're going to be doing, and just bring a focus into their mind and body. So that's how this came about. And it's the same session that I also do for Sarcoidosis UK on a monthly basis. So it's in sitting and it's in standing. But when I do the standing bit, you can stay in sitting. That's how it works. So should we go and give that a go and see what you think?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okie doke. So this is called Pause, Focus and Connect. And we're going to pause from the day. We're going to focus on you. And we're going to get some deep connections between your mind and your body. I want you to work very much with how you're feeling today. And if anything doesn't feel comfortable, then of course, just stop. You could just listen to my voice maybe, or get yourself a cup of tea and just tune into what I'm saying. So I'm sitting on a Swiss ball, but you could be sitting on a chair. You can take your shoes off if you want to. You can close your eyes, grab a pillow to put your arms around, whatever feels most comfortable for you. And I'd like you for a moment to just notice how you're breathing. I don't want you to make any judgments on how you're breathing, and make no adjustments to that just now. Just be aware. Maybe of where the breath's coming in, how it leaves your body, any areas that move when you're breathing in and out. Or maybe if it fires up any feelings of anxiousness or calm, or any other things that come in when you're noticing how you're breathing. And taking your attention away from your breathing now, notice how you're sitting. Again, no judgments, no adjustments. Just be aware of where the weight's going through your feet, which parts of your body are in contact with your chair, any areas that feel particularly comfortable and at ease, and any areas that are feeling a little bit niggly today. Just be aware. And now check in with how you're feeling, the physical feelings, the fleeting thoughts and emotions that go through our minds. Just let them be. And check in with any niggles or anywhere again that feels particularly relaxed as you're sitting there. Now we're going to take your attention back to your breath. And I'd like you to slow your breath down. Close your lips softly and allow the air to stream in through your nose, warming as it goes. Open your mouth and feel the air easing out. And again. Close your lips softly together. If you're going at a different pace than me, just let it happen. Allow the air to stream in through your nose, warming as it goes. And then open your mouth and feel the air easing out. Keeping that slow pace with your breath, not particularly very deep, just slow. Notice the space between your breath in and your breath out. At the top of the breath in, as it tips into your breath out. And at the end of the breath out, leaving space for the breath in to emerge. Feel a softness around your middle, an openness and a release across your shoulders. And as you're breathing out, maybe imagine that you're flickering a candle. We're not trying to blow it out, we're just creating a very gentle flicker with that breath out. Now, when you're ready, allow your breath to return to a pace that suits you. And let's tune in to how you're sitting again. with a little bit more detail. Taking your attention down to your feet. Feel that both feet are in contact with the floor, as wide as you want them to be, to create a sense of comfort through your feet. Spread your toes out, give them a little bit of a wriggle. Remind yourself that you've got 10. And allow your toes just to make wide, gentle contact with the floor. Have a sense of space in your ankles, openness in your knees, and a gentle lifting out of your hips. And then I want you to feel that you grow a little bit taller in this sitting position, almost like you've got the string going from the crown of your head to the ceiling, just drawing you out of your hips and waist and lengthening your neck. And then allow yourself to sink down into this sitting posture, creating a gentle slouch. And in your own time, as slowly as you can, move from that upright, lengthened position into your slouch, moving out of a position that you've naturally set yourself in, and moving through a position where you feel lengthened and a position where you slouch, maybe taking a breath in as you lengthen up and a breath out as you slouch down. Breath in as you lengthen up and a breath out as you slouch down. And trying to find a position of balance where you feel like the crown of your head is being lengthened upwards, and maybe if you did actually have a tail, it would be long and resting down on the floor between your hips. Finding a position of balance where you're neither slouched nor braced, but somewhere in between. Feeling active, supported, and balanced. Register a feeling of quietness in this position, allowing space for any discomfort to dissipate. Now, when you're ready, I want you to bring your arms down by your side. Just stay in sitting now. And we're going to gently bend towards the side. So if you slowly reach one hand towards the floor and maybe turn your head to look where your hand's going, don't overreach, we're just going to ease away. And then slowly bring yourself back up again. And in your own time, do the same to the other side. Reaching towards the floor, side bending through your spine and coming back up again. Now, keeping that connection, mind and body, and keeping your focus, maybe taking a breath in now as you take that side bend, in through your nose as we did before, out through your mouth like you're flickering the candle as you come back up again. And going deeper, we talked about the space between your breath in and your breath out. And let's see if you can fit the movement into the breath rather than the other way around. So taking a breath in through your nose as you go into that side bend. Wait for the breath out. And as the breath out comes, slowly bring yourself back up again. And let's just do that one more time, taking a breath in as you go into that side bend. And breathe out as you come back up again. Now, bringing your hands across your chest, let's go into a little bit of rotation now through your spine. So we start with the movement of just turning your shoulders and your head. We're not forcing anything, it's just an easy movement to look towards the wall on one side, and then take your time to bring yourself round to the front. And again, working deeper, we take that little breath in through your nose as we turn, and wait for the breath out to start, continuing the movement back to start position as the breath out continues. Breathing in, almost as if we were counting to 5, maybe even 6. Breathing out with a little flicker of that candle, not forcing anything. But we can't focus on anything else as we're focusing on the breath, the movement, a little bit on how it feels as you're doing that movement. And then in all that cueing and awareness, if you can remember which way you turned first, breathing in, breathing out to come back, finish by going the other way, taking a breath in and breathing out to come back. Now release your arms and bring them back down by your side now. And just repeat that little slouching and growing tall, and find that nice upright position where you don't feel you're bracing or not collapsing down either. We've got that nice balance. Imagine you're balancing a book on the top of your head, that sort of feeling. And we're going to raise our arms, and we're going to do that with single arms first. So when you're ready, you're just going to let one arm raise up. Take it out in front of you and as far up as feels comfortable for you. And then take your time to let that arm find its natural place back down by your side. And we'll do the same with the other arm. So slowly raising the arm up, just as high as feels comfortable for you. We're not aiming for range of movement here. We're just aiming for an awareness of the connection of the arm into your torso. Now you already know how we're doing this session, so slow it down and see if you can take a breath in as you raise the arm up. Remember, there's a natural space between your breath in and your breath out. And a breath out, wait for the breath out as the arm comes back down. Changing arms, we're taking a breath in as the arm raises up. And a breath out as the arm comes back down. Let's do another one of those to each side, and I want you to really tune in with how you're feeling. How do you feel through your neck, your spine, your shoulder? How does it feel through the rest of your body as you take the weight of your arm? And if it's comfortable for you to do so, try both together. If not, you can stick with your single ones. So we're breathing out. Let's raise the arms up. This time we'll breathe in to hold it. And breathe out as the arms come down. And then we'll do that just one more time now. Taking a breath out and raising the arms up. Breathing in to hold it. And breathing out to bring the arms down. All right, now we're just going to pause for a moment, and I want you to make a decision now as to whether you stay in sitting or standing. We've just got one more movement to do. So either staying in sitting, I'm going to move a little bit further back so that you can see me. So you can stay in sitting for this, that's absolutely fine. If you're coming up into standing, I just want you to stand comfortably with your arms down by your side and take your knees into a slight bend. And we're just going to take a little roll forwards. If you're in sitting, just put your hands on your thighs. So when you're ready, you're just going to slowly bring your head down, looking down towards the floor, or in sitting, looking down towards your thighs. And then just allow your spine to bend forwards comfortably. And then we're going to let our spines restack, imagining that each vertebra is being put on top of the one below it, allowing the ribs, your shoulders, your neck and head to come all the way back up. Now let's take a breath with this one. So breathe in before you move, changing it up, and breathing out as you take that roll forwards, or just feeling the weight of your head coming down towards your thighs if you're in sitting. Pause and take a breath in. And when you're ready and the breath out starts to come, start to restack your spine back into that upright position. Each vertebra restacking on top of the one below it. And again, so breathing out, let's take that roll forwards, the weight of your head, shoulders, ribs, bringing you forwards with ease, coming out of the position that you set yourself in sitting, and exploring through movement a more balanced way to sit and move. Take a breath in and breathing out, let's slowly restack all the way up into that upright position. And then bring yourself back into sitting if you are in standing. And just for a moment now, scan through your body from your toes, ankles, knees, hips, pelvis, spine, ribs, shoulders, arms, neck and head. And as we did before, just register a feeling of quietness and balance in this position. And then I want you to take a little roll of your shoulders, and you're all done. I hope you enjoyed that session, and I hope it's brought you just a sense of connection between your mind and your body. How did that feel, Sean, with you doing it?
That was wonderful. I tried a couple of them and everything. And, like you said, really concentrating on what you're doing and your breathing and controlling it and going at your own pace, really felt some comfort, and then your mind went there also, just sheer concentration. It was good. It's very good.
Good. It is a real pause from the day, isn't it? And it doesn't, like I said, exercise doesn't always have to be that kind of, sort of what we think is exercise and moving around. Sometimes
Right.
It can just positioning and the focus and the breathing, and it can bring such a baseline for when you do feel like you can actually do some form of walking or swimming or whatever you want to get back into doing.
Yeah, the simple thing, just the posture, is slouching and then straight up. And it's just, raising of your arms. It's just the little things, especially for me. I sit in a chair, every day
Yeah.
in front of a computer,
Yeah. And if it kind of, when I think of when I've worked with, because my specialty in the past has been back pain, so I've worked with a lot of athletes who have quite severe back pain because they do repetitive movements all the time. And
Right.
I do the same with them. I take them right back to positioning, breathing, body awareness, and they have to let go of all that tension before you can build the support up. It's just, it works, but and also it just does help you switch off a little bit, doesn't it, and bring some focus into your day.
Right. So, Julia, could we talk for a minute on your role as a caregiver and the journey that you're on? We had some people call in and contact us, and they had some questions for you related to this topic, and they wanted to find out. I guess the first question was, how can I talk to my caregiver about what I need without feeling like a burden?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still very much on this journey and kind of almost at the beginning of it, and it's a real, we don't always get it right. But things that we found have worked for us is sometimes picking a time that is the time when we talk about things like that they have those difficult conversations. Sometimes it just comes up in conversation anyway, but sometimes if we actually have a specific time, for us it's a Tuesday, and we'll go, what practical things need doing, chasing up appointments, but then also we do that on a separate day, but then also checking in, what do you need, because I find quite a lot that sometimes my partner doesn't tell me how he's feeling and what he needs. I have to kind of pull it out of him. And sometimes you get really fed up of saying, are you okay? Are you okay? Don't you can't keep saying that. So we find picking a time that could, for us, it's a Tuesday afternoon, we'll make a pot of tea, we'll sit down and we'll go, what's going on, what do you need? Because it changes constantly, doesn't it? It changes what you need as well. It might be something completely different one week. The other thing we find happens is writing it down. So because there isn't always the right time to talk about things, because I'm still working, my partner doesn't work, he's not well enough to work, so I'm quite busy in that respect. And sometimes we find that if he writes it down, then when we do have that time, he can remember what it was then, because he can't always remember what's coming into your head. So those two things work for a specific time to talk about it, and writing it down.
Okay, good. So how do you protect against burnout? You're a caregiver, you're supporting, and then you're working also. What are the things that you do to make sure not only you're there for your partner, but taking care of your health also?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good question, Sean. And I think, like I said, I don't always get it right. And I have been close to burnout, I must admit, when we didn't know, when we were first early in the diagnosis as well. But we've made massive, massive changes in our lives. And I know it's very difficult to do that, but we had to, because I was running a very busy studio, and it just wasn't working. I was becoming very stressed out, and I want to be there. We want to be doing things together. So I actually moved. That's why I work online. I moved my whole business online so that we could move to the seaside, actually, which we're in the process of doing. So I'm actually not in my house at the moment. I'm in my sister's, because we don't currently have a house, which brings its own stress. So I've changed my working life massively, and obviously, because I teach exercise for a living, I have to keep a level of fitness myself, which requires time, effort. Physical activity, spending time with the friends that support me, even if that's online. I live away from a lot of my friends now, but online is a massive support. And I swim in the sea is my lack of burnout. No wetsuit, and it's freezing. The Irish Sea is very cold.
Oh gosh.
So yeah, taking time out to do physical exercise for yourself, and I think some form of talking, counselling sometimes helps as well.
Yeah, and that from what you've been experiencing, is there a way that a patient could recognize possibly a caregiver is struggling, is heading that way, and what could the patient do to support the caregiver?
I thought about this, and I thought, it's like kind of, it's very warts and all, isn't it? You can't really dress it up, but I suppose for them maybe being a bit short-tempered, or just, taking on too much as well sometimes. I know I'll do that, I'll do this, I'll do that, I'll do everything, and that's a sign of me being close to getting too overburdened, is that I start to take everything on.
Right.
And it's for us, it's being aware of the things that my partner can do rather than what he can't do. So for example, he mostly does the shopping, and it might take him all day to do that, because he'll drive to the shops, he'll have to take a break, he'll do the shopping, he'll have to take a break, he maybe go for a coffee, and then he'll come back, and we don't live near to shops. But but it takes him all day. And sometimes the day after he might be a bit exhausted, but it's things like that. It's very hard to just take everything away from someone, isn't it? Because it takes them so long to do it.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, maybe maybe for recognizing that they're doing too much, or recognizing that maybe they're getting a bit short-tempered with you, or maybe they're not doing the things that they're normally doing.
Mm,
You know,
those are
I'll drop stuff at the drop of a hat if Clayton's not well. I'll go, no, I won't do that, and then I think, no,
right,
I have to.
right. No, those are really, really good clues. Um, so how about this question? What can a patient do if they don't have a caregiver? And
Yeah,
maybe some strategies on how not to feel isolated.
yeah. I mean, there are plenty of online groups, and I know I'm sure it's the same with, but I know my partner doesn't really take a lot of. He doesn't get involved in a lot of the online groups because he finds it too stressful to be on an online group and be talking to everybody. But he does do a lot of the, like the Facebook groups where people write stuff rather than being in person or on Zoom. So there's an awful lot out there online, sarcoidosis support. I know in the UK there is, and I'm sure there is there. But it's also maybe locally having a look at if there's like local caregivers groups. I noticed in my GPs they have a local caregivers group as well, that they get together like once a month. And again, just have a cup of tea, or I think they play ping pong actually.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's just looking out for those. But yeah, it's a tough one, that, isn't it? And I don't think always that the doctors are sympathetic for that. But I know I'm sure you have with Life and Breath Foundation, Sarcoidosis UK, they have the most amazing sarcoidosis nurses, and they're just great. Book a phone call with them. My partner sometimes does that, and he'll just have a good chat to them for an hour. And but I think he does that once every few months or something if he's feeling he needs to. So there is help out there. It's just finding it, isn't it?
And thank God for the internet and being able to reach out for those online folks that you can help, because they don't necessarily have to be in your local area. It could be somebody, and you can kind of connect with them online. That's a really good suggestion. In some of your interaction with Sarcoidosis UK, and you mentioned earlier about coming on monthly and sharing and helping. How, in your opinion, and I think you touched on it a little earlier, how can physical activity kind of help with managing stress, especially with somebody that has a chronic illness?
I think the physical and mental go so close together, don't they? You supposedly meant to feel better when you move. People with sarcoidosis don't always feel better when they move.
Right.
They really don't, do they? That's the kind of thing that kind of hits you in the head all the time, doesn't it? It's like, yeah, do a bit of movement, you feel better, and then you go, but I don't feel better. And you're like, oh gosh. But I think what the session that I just did there is almost like meditation through movements. And I think that mind body thing is very good. So although, I've just done that in sitting and in standing, but you can do it. There's plenty of stuff that you can do in lying, doing that kind of, because even if you're just noticing how you're breathing, if you're stressed, you tend to very shallow breathe, don't you? Or your shoulders go up, you're holding tension in your body. And even just an awareness of that can start to bring your stress levels down, boost your mood, and help with your well-being. So yeah, it's kind of busting the myth a little bit, isn't it? It's not like going to the gym and having a good old workout and then you feel so much better. And a lot of people start to just well, I know in my experience with my partner, he's way off doing that. There's just no way. But sometimes just getting him to sit unsupported and slow breathing down, maybe just do some really simple movements. It feels like his stress levels comes down, his breathing gets a bit calmer.
Yeah. I think you mentioned this one also, but it might be good to just reiterate this. Most people, or some people with sarcoidosis, suffer as a major symptom from fatigue. And it's like, well, how do you balance, my need to rest to deal with that because I feel like I'm out of gas, but then I also have to percentage of the time be active or do some of that. And maybe they could do that with the breathing that you mentioned and the small,
Yeah.
like you called them, posture awareness and movements.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like there's a really good book called The Body Has Its Reasons, and that kind of really was a real turn point for me where I was reading about almost non-exercise. So um, I years and years ago, I remember having a patient who had a severe chronic illness, and I can't remember what it was because it was about 25 years ago. And I was getting her to just roll onto her side and roll onto her back, roll onto her side, roll onto her back. And we did that for ages, and it wasn't anything that I planned. It wasn't an exercise that I planned, but she was enjoying it. She found just focusing on that quite small movement, she found a bit of connection with her body, a bit of joy maybe in the movements, I think. And she was taking better breaths. So it's yeah, it's small movements. They're maybe sitting unsupported, thinking of it outside the box as non-exercise, maybe just as awareness, movement, and the simplicity, like I said, that can bring to you building blocks of movement.
Mm-hmm. So maybe the last question I have for you is, centered around, you know, again, we're thinking about fatigue, thinking about movement. Are there any specific foods that should be included in a diet or certain foods you should eliminate if you kind of suffer from this fatigue and you're trying to get energy and you're trying to get through the day?
I mean, Sean, I'm a physio, I'm not a nutritionist, so I don't know if I'm best placed to kind of make a call on that one. But I think there's plenty of information out there on the Sarcoidosis websites about diet and fatigue. And I also think it's something that's still being researched very much at the moment. So,
Mm-hmm.
with kind of, oh, well, people excluding gluten, and we find a lot of just freshly cooked stuff. We don't eat processed food. We find that makes a very big difference. But like I said, that's just from a personal point of view, not a professional point of view, because I don't have that nutritional background. But yeah, I mean, it's good to eat good food, isn't it?
Yeah,
Makes a
exactly.
difference. We cook a lot. Cooking is one of our activities, actually. And on bad days, I on when my partner's not feeling too good, he'll sit at the table and chop the veg, and it might take us like an hour to make dinner or something, but it's just something that we do together, and it's always great at the end of it.
Is there a way that if somebody enjoyed today's webinar and the information you shared, is there some place they can go to continue to connect with you or to kind of learn a little bit more, especially if they get in a certain way on a certain day and they want, oh, let me see if I can go and see what Julia is suggesting or some best
Cool.
practices that she has.
I'm on Instagram, Julia Physio Pilates. It's obviously a UK account, but this session, the Pause, Focus and Connect, it is on YouTube, but I only have it as a private link because I want to share it to make sure it gets to the right people. I don't kind of do it to the masses, so to speak. So what I'm going to do is I am going to re-record this for your members, and then if I send you the YouTube link, it'll be a private link, so only people with the link can watch it rather than it being a public one, and then they can just use that again and again if they want to. But I'm always open to anybody emailing me or sending me a message on Instagram if they wanted to find out a little bit more, or if they just want to connect. I totally get it, and it's a rough road sometimes. So anything that I can do to help, I'm there to be contacted.
Julia, you've been so helpful today. We appreciate you coming on and sharing, the journey of someone that is a caregiver and supporting a loved one that has sarcoidosis. It's an important topic, and what you do for your partner is greatly appreciated, and we can learn a lot more because we have so many people out there that are struggling. We just don't want them to feel like they're by themselves. We want to make sure that we extend a bridge to be able to help them from wherever they are, and with open arms. So from the Life and Breath Foundation and me, I wanted to thank you very much for sharing today. It was a pleasure to have you on, and we look forward to staying connected with you.
Thank you so much, Sean. It's been a delight being here. Thank you so much, Sean. I hope it helps. Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
Thank you, Sean.
Okay.